There will be spoilers ahead for the recent collab episodes of me, Tyler, and Sooty. Welcome
to the
Friend and Foes
podcast!
We got there in the end, guys!
We got there in the end, eh?
We got me, hit the target.
And I'm cameraman who watches hit the target take a poop.
And I am Sooty in the suit, SootyCraft70.
Who's he in the suit?
Caravan
That's
man.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I must say, me watching you in the toilet earlier was a very fun experience for all of us now, wasn't it? You know, broadcasting it live on that big TV behind us just for Soot to see.
No.
Yeah. Sorry to ruin your humility.
Well, so something big happened recently in the lovely verse space. Does Tyler want to take the stage for this one?
Well, the new big thing that everyone is very mixed about because people is our new upcoming, well, it's first part side, but upcoming for the most part, 3-part collab featuring me, yours truly, Hit the Target, as well, Sal, I guess, and whoever you want to call him by, and the Soot.
Yes.
So we've had a lot of there's been a lot of people that were recording this today after the collabs went live. It's been a bit crazy. I think maybe because Tyler's kind of was one of the big speakers about this issue. I think we'll let him take the stage.
Right. Well, first of all, you have people coming in the stage thing, asking stupid questions about things that aren't relevant. So I was like, okay, if people are going to keep doing this, they're going to get banned because it was annoying us. Second of all, someone called me insufferable as it is based on a plot line that they didn't even understand.
I didn't even know about that.
I said to them, mate, I suggest you take off the gloves before your face becomes insufferable, pretty much.
Well, yeah. Sooty, did you want to say something on the matter?
I just honestly think we spend a lot of time making these episodes, and people just don't take them the right way. It always happens like this.
They metaphorically take a shit on them, which it really pisses me off. So.
It does affect it, you know. It affects our mental health a little bit.
Motivation,
we've put people can vouch. Joshy Poshy, shout out to him. He did have a continuation of his own. He can vouch for the fact that collab pulled a lot of brain cells out of us because we had quite a big discussion on how we wanted this to go. Sooty has his ideas, Tyler had his ideas, and of course I had my ideas of how it
should go. I'm about to drop some of my brain cells. Those are just the leftovers.
So,
no way.
Yeah, so we had a lot of discussion. Joshy Poshy was in the call with us at the time. And it got to the point where we just had to ask him, what do you think is the best idea from everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. He gave his opinion. He decided the idea that me and Tyler kind of... We had two different ideas, and me and Tyler were able to kind of group our ideas together in the end. So then Josh said, go for that one. So we ended up going for that one in the end. But it was kind of a lot of back and forth, kind of working out how we'd make the story go amazing. It's kind of been the same for part 2, but we will leave part 2 for a little bit later in the podcast.
I will say this about part 2 is part 2 is not even a thing yet, realistically.
Yeah.
It's not even been discussed yet, so
no, not really. That's still amazing.
If you're expecting a part 2, it might take a little bit longer, but hopefully, if everything goes well.
It's probably not going to be out next week. I mean, we're recording this on is it the 15th?
Yes, we're on the 15th.
Yes, the 15th.
I don't think, we're looking at least, I'd say from the 25th onwards.
Yeah.
We'll look at that. I think that's fair to assume.
Once myself is on break from my education from my school, I will be able to kind of cook a bit more as well.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah, so I will be off from the 21st onwards. So from the 25th, hopefully we can kind of have an idea. But we do have some things for later that we can kind of share about part 2 ideas and things. But we'll get to that boat when it comes to it.
Right.
So, Mr. Caravan Man over there. Is there anything you would like to share on the part 1 behind the scenes?
Yes, man. Is there anything you would like to say in particular?
I'll say this basically, I'll talk about Rusty's kind of coming back kind of thing. Yeah. And hopefully not spoil it.
Before we go further, make sure you watch the parts from all the channels.
Yeah, for, spoilers will be ahead for them parts. Yeah. So go and watch them. Right. Well, so bringing back Rusty this time was quite hard because obviously we did kill him off a little bit. Obviously, that was the end of my original continuation. Like, he died. And then we kind of left it like that. And it kind of gave us time just to focus on, like, building and stuff without worrying about stuff and stuff like that. It was just like the pressure of bringing him back. We removed that. And then, yeah, obviously, we brought him back now. But this time, I can't really say that much about it or spoil it. But this time, he's not going to be mainly like big as he used to be. I'm just gonna say this: like,
he's not the front man of this operation. Pretty much.
the front man, Squid Game
Front
vibes.
man. I am.
So anyway, it's just this time we decided that we didn't like his voice last time, and there was a lot of things about his voice that we didn't really like.
I think that the one thing we need to do next time, though, is add. Oh god, I'm coughing. Let's try it again. I think the next thing we need to do is probably add subtitles, not for the old stuff, but for the new stuff, because
people have asked for it. Yeah, it's one thing we got from it. That's probably like the positive criticism we got. I think it was positive. People asking for that. I think that was probably some of the only positive things we got.
We will add subtitles next time.
Yeah,
as you can understand his voice, but you have to focus on like the sound very specifically. Even when I was editing it, I literally had to like deafen just to hear what he was saying.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was
like you have to be.
Like... Oh, go on. Sorry, Sut. You
have to be very focused on the video to understand what he was saying, basically.
Yeah. Like there is some points, especially from like the part of the video that I'm a part of, like. It's hard, even when we're recording it ourselves. Sometimes it's difficult to kind of understand what the other person's saying.
I will say this: that voice was recorded intent for the old Rusty effect.
Yeah.
So that's probably why it didn't go well with this one.
I think also
the old voice
kind of
have a lot more.
Created a good idea because obviously, if people have seen, it's very clear if you look at the back of Rusty. You can kind of get an idea that the skin is different. And I suppose you can kind of think in a way that's also why the voice is different. Like, I don't want to spoil too much, but if I'll kind of put it literally, because Rusty's back, I suppose, like, obviously I can't say too much, so it will come out in part 2 what I'm kind of talking about. It's very hard, for me to say what I want to say here, but I suppose... Like, he's evolved to the next phase, in a way,
in a way, you can see it by his appearance.
Without explaining what the evolution is and what happens in the evolution. I
want to make a statement on his voice, as, you know, I think, if you're, like, let me rephrase this. Basically, it's going to sound more like his original voice, like the early one from last year, like the first ever time he really talked. He had that voice. It sounds
it was deep, but this one is a lot more layered on top of depth to the voice. So yeah.
So it does kind of reminisce of that voice kind of period, and I'm happy that we've actually found something to do a better voice now because last time it was a hassle, just even the voice in general.
CapCut Mobile. Oh, can we talk about CapCut in general, bro?
CapCut, man, honestly. But it does sound more professional now, I gotta say, like Rusty's voice.
Yeah, we're using Shotcut. Ellis promoted that to us.
So let's give a story about what happened with Mr. CapCut. So, obviously, if you've used CapCut, and we all can agree, CapCut is probably one of the most popular free editing softwares out there, but there is a lot of paid features in CapCut now, and it gets worse. Mr. Sut, the main editor for the Rusty clips, decided to update his CapCut, didn't you, Sut? I'll let you carry on this little story.
Alright, so basically it was like, I'll tell you this story. So basically I edited the video, I went off for the night, and it came on, and I think I must have updated it at some point. And then when I went to export it, CapCut was like, no, we have Pro feature now. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to be dead. Tyler's going to kill me.
So basically, in this update, it had made the effects that Rusty's voice has kind of a premium option when before it wasn't.
It wasn't literally like less than 12 hours ago. I could have just exported it for free.
It's just so annoying because like it was basically done. The time he wanted to export it was the time that this all happened, and like it was just so annoying. Like I wish that CapCut gave notice as to when they were going to do that sort of thing. I feel like they should.
I think at least right. I think stuff like happens in life for a reason a lot of the times to get better. Like, and I think that the reason why that happened was us to move on from CapCut, maybe.
Yeah.
Make us realize
like,
that it was
we've
worth
all moved to Shotcut. There's like a cool
It's
thing in
harder for me to
Shotcut
use,
where
but
there's like this is kind of giving us some promo for Shotcut. You can actually make presets to your different filters. So it makes it like the editing time in CapCut compared to Shotcut for like Rusty's voice is going to be a lot quicker because we kind of are going to have the presets saved.
Yeah, I'll say this: like Rusty's voice will be much more faster now.
Yeah.
To edit, so that's
we
good.
recorded part 1 maybe about a week ago, and it takes a week to edit an episode that Rusty's a part of.
Definitely. And it's not just because Rusty's a part of it, right? It's because there's so many different elements. Because when Rusty's a part of it, you know it's going to be a big episode, right? So there's a lot of things, like different perspectives or different kind of parts of it.
Different
that we need to think
timelines.
about.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah. So it's a mess, but when it's done, it's good. And that's why we get so annoyed when people start trying to bring it down, because you don't understand what we actually do to bring these episodes out. Unless you don't want to see the series exist, then I suggest you buckle down and get on with it. Like, constructive criticism is fine, right? But if you're uneducated as to what's going on with the lore and you're not picking up the pieces from what we're putting down, that's your problem.
I think part 1 obviously came out on the 14th. Now, 14th is obviously the anniversary towards Collide.
Yeah.
And we had this is kind of one thing that Sooty was like his big thing is it had to be better. It had to be better than Worlds Collide.
Not in like a malicious way. Like just to say we're not trying to get after Charles.
I think the one thing from what I've spoken to him about, I think even he can probably agree that it needed something that could do it justice a year later because it was such a big moment in the continuation space, but B, there's things that we all could have done better during that sort of period, and I want something to elaborate on it.
I personally think we could have done it better that time, but it was the scheduling of how it all happened. That's how it kind of ended up that way. It was no one's fault.
And it was very hard because I actually was a part of the production of Worlds Collide. My description of things, but I was there when it was being filmed and things. With the amount of people in it, it was very difficult to make sure everyone was doing the right thing, and of course, because Charles was the one recording, I could see it was very stressful.
Yeah.
Like also a thing with with the collab is we've done something that wasn't done before, because obviously with Worlds Collide, it was mostly from Charles' perspective, and then Tyler did a lot of videos on his channel. Like the preparation, but with the collab that we're doing, we've got 3 perspectives to it, which is of course even harder to make sure it's perfect.
Right. So it's like 3 times the workload, because Worlds Collide for the most part was Charles's perspective. I did a video that was completely separate to that, to do with the plot, to kind of tie some things up. I was going to do more to that, but I just couldn't get around to it. But this one's all linking into the same thing, to the same idea, concept, whatever you want to call it. So this is going to be 3 times harder, and probably a bit more on top of that, because we've got to plan it out so it's doable and it lives up to a legacy.
And also, you never really ever filmed an episode in season 2, in Worlds Collide. I think you were going to originally do 1 part in there originally. Yeah, I swear. You filmed the first part from your POV. I swear at one point, but you never uploaded
when
it.
I came up in between.
Yeah, that's far gone now because that's 10 resets PCs ago.
Yeah. I don't even know if I recorded that, but that doesn't even matter.
Yeah, but
so yeah, as we're saying, our collab is obviously going to be a lot harder to record. It's going to be a long editing process because with the Rusty voice, Sooty's got to edit it. So different music, because with the I had different music than Tyler, so he had to give me a version of this talk without music, and then he's got to go back and then make sure the music works for Tyler. And then, of course, in my episode, I had to have several different effects. So an effect for my RTX machine, because obviously we wanted to test that out. I had to have an effect for my teleporter to get from Stunning World to Lovely World. And then I also had to re-edit the effect for the Timeline Traveler. Of course, Eyeballs is the one that made that. So,
Also,
obviously, a lot went into that from even me. And then, of
Yes.
course, double that, or triple it, whatever, yeah.
And then add some on top of that. Oh,
Yeah.
you got a pretty good recipe.
I'm actually going to make a statement on my video editing process for my part in it. I think, like, to be fair, right, like, I don't want to come across as this video was rushed. I spent amount of time as I did. Obviously, when I did edit it, it wasn't probably the best time to edit it, but I did spend time on it. I spent, about 2 hours, I think it was, on it. So, I didn't add music, not because I was lazy, just because I kind of like the atmosphere of that. Like, music adds stuff to it, but I wanted my video to stand out. I know it was exactly the same video as Tyler's, but I wanted it just not to be a copy and pasted of his editing to mine, because there'd be no point of that. And I think the silence of it really shows that, yeah. I think the thing about the POVs is we have to make them different at least, because that's what our POVs is what describes us as what we were feeling at the time, in a way.
And of course, that's what people have pulled us up on, is the fact that their Tyler's and Sooty's, mainly for part 1, are very much the same. And that's, of course, something we want to explain. We've explained this in the Discord event we did yesterday, but I think we should explain on a wider scale to everyone watching. Is part 1 is supposed to be I suppose a pilot, but also not like a pilot, more like the build up. We kind of needed a storyline, a storyline to begin it, and it had to be how it was.
I think one of the reasons why I did the POV is because obviously it was continuing on my storyline. This all started because Wolf came to my timeline and all of that. AKA his capture card said goodbye to us, sadly.
Yeah.
But,
my new PC
I think
not compatible.
Yeah,
with it
what if Tyler gives some behind the scenes and how this whole thing came to be?
Right, so basically, on January 28th, I got a new beast of a PC, and pretty much I wanted to record, but my capture card was just not working with the new PC. It's not to do with the Elgato itself, that's what the capture card I have, it's just because, I don't know, there's something to do with the ports on the PC and the compatibility of it and stuff, so it's, that's why I had to move everything over to this.
I think it was either me or it was Sooty. We kind of one of our ideas to kind of utilize a storyline in Sooty's video. So the end of Sooty's video, of course, if you see it, make sure you do see that. And I know a lot of people haven't seen it and they don't understand how Wolf is there. So a bit of behind the scenes lore, which we kind of haven't talked about. So after the Academy video, the Mega Build video on Tyler's channel, he's gone, of course, to Sooty's timeline, Lost Legacy Classic, or Lovely World Beyond. And then they had the whole Sooty's episode, and Sooty's episode ended with them both going through the tree. And then, of course, the capture card issues happened, so then that's where this whole collab came from, is that idea.
Yeah, pretty much. That video was recorded in the intentions of never actually bringing that whole... We went through the tree because originally we were just going to go and... I was just going to join Tyler in the next episode of, normal Lost Legacy. That was pretty much... That's why we went through the tree. There was nothing, don't think we planned this, master planned this. We went through the tree and then all of this would happen. No, we kind of just made it up as we went along.
It was very winged recently.
Oh yeah.
Me and Tara had planned a collaboration at some point, but never to the scale that we're doing it now.
Right.
Like,
It was kind of crazy
Yeah.
small compared to what we've done.
Like that's similar to the situation in December, like when obviously, like I did the collab with Tyler. It was never meant to actually do a collab at that point. It was meant to actually do it around this time. The original collab was meant to
Yeah.
happen, but we did it in December because obviously that whole end problem happened.
The end city
And we
didn't
did-
spawn in.
We did all of that because of the end city didn't spawn in because obviously conversion and all that. Like, it's a lot to go over, but yeah.
Oh, it was so bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Tyler, what if you give some behind the scenes to that episode, Tyler, while we're here?
Okay, so basically, I didn't think I had to check something as simple as it because it was like, you know, it just came second nature. End city, you know, kind of thing. So, Sooty was joining me in that episode as Zany. He was playing Zany, I should probably say it like that. And we went to the end. We were going to go to the end city, and live on camera, I went in there for the first time. And this episode version of it didn't get released, but I'll explain. So, I was really defeated because I was like, what? There's no end city. So we were mining out like the chorus plants and stuff, just trying to make time go by. And so we went back to Zany's house at the end of this unreleased video, and we were just like, alright, that's going to be the end of this video. So then I was like, you know, if I'm going to record daily, I can't really afford to just build the end city. That's just going to take ages. Plus, at this point, I thought my mum was going on holiday and I wasn't going to be home for a while. So I was like, this is just not ideal in the slightest. So we made up this law with a shrine where I go through to Sooty's timeline and I get Elytra because I wanted to get Elytra. I think just fly around or something. I don't know, just that kind of thing. So we had to pick up some massive lore involving Rusty and timelines and stuff just because my end city didn't spawn in. I was crashing out left, right, and center.
Yeah. So what you can say is, if not for that issue, probably our collab would not be how it is now.
Maybe so, yeah.
Rusty's
also at
death
that
is the
point-
only thing that makes it possible.
Rusty, like, wasn't really a big thing back then. Even when he came back, like around like when the new timeline started, he went really quiet. Like, he didn't really actually appear that much
Yeah.
in even like the lore or even in like the. I'd say he
Sooty.
appeared a lot more.
I need to break your brain for 1 second to cut you off there. You want to know what I realised?
Wow.
Back when we were first recording the Dangerous Decisions video, Rusty was locked up in the cocoon for 6 months. He'd be locked up in there for a year now. How has it already been 6 months since we recorded that episode?
I was at. That is the thing as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god!
Why?
Coincidence. I was actually watching that whole trilogy last night. I watched it again.
The movie.
Yeah, the movie. Actually, yeah, I should have watched the movie, shouldn't I? I watched Dangerous Decisions, then Risk the other one, and then I
Oh
watched the
no,
third part.
Tyler! You just reminded me. Remember that mistake we made in the movie? That's different. This
Oh
is-
no,
there's a
because you
different
didn't
thing in the
edit
movie.
that bit out when I was talking to Rusty, and I was like, I want like a memory of like one of the things like he said like,
Yeah,
he's like, you can go back there, but you know, I can't guarantee you'll come back in one piece. You know, he was
yeah,
kind of
something
like
like
into
that. That wasn't included in the movie because
You
literally,
could hear
right,
me say, okay, so Sooty, can you edit something in here? And you could hear me say that. And I was cringing, bro. I was cringing.
yeah, as soon as the premiere ended, we literally edited it like super fast, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to watch that now, actually. How am I?
I think honestly,
part one of that was probably the best one. To be honest.
Yeah.
part 2 was interesting.
Part 2 was
remember correctly.
interesting, but with part 1's length, it was amazing.
Mhm.
Part 1 was like 41 minutes.
Oh, yes, it was.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, and then we went to like 20 minutes. Oh my god. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was kind of part 2, right? I like this time we're not going to make part 2 week, hopefully.
Part 2 for this
Let-
one
let-
is going to be probably the better part.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
If
going to
you guys
watch
want
that.
repetitivity.
Please, I'm going to watch this in like 6 months and be like, why?
Oh, no.
Like, oh, this podcast is just going to be a reminder of how
Yeah.
much we failed. So, and this is a message to the future Sooty. Please edit it.
Yeah.
You will regret it if you don't edit it.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. I'm going to put my foot down when we actually plan part 2 that it has to exceed 20 minutes minimum.
It will. It will. I know it will.
Yeah, because with what's gonna happen, there's gonna be a lot of things happening. Because of course, I think we did say this yesterday. Is of course, if you paid attention, the 2 sets of coordinates that I have and Tyler and Sooty have are taking us to the same place. So, of course, we are going to meet in the next part, obviously, because we're going to the same place with what we've been given.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've got that storyline, but then what happens after that? There's going to be quite a few storylines spouting off of that one storyline, and it's, of course, going to have different perspectives. So, Tyler's going to have his part, Sooty's going to have his part, and then, obviously, I'm going to be following my mission from Rusty in my perspective. So... Yeah. Because right now, I think that Wolf and Sooty are bad people, and that Rusty's a good guy.
That's crazy. How could you?
I know.
But I would say this, like, Rusty's death, like, this doesn't devalue that whole entire death, I don't think, like, really that much.
Not really.
As I see Rusty's life in eras, like, you have, like, he's different every time. You have, like last era was the closest in the series that he's ever got to good, like, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I see Rusty like it with like an inner turmoil with himself almost, because I feel, you know, he chose to lose everything because of the corruption. He tried making friends, but as the corruption kind of spread and his ability kind of became a bit more of like, I think he couldn't hide anymore and he got caught out in the act. He kind of realized, what's the point in trying? I was like the last thing. And I want to explore that as a concept with this.
Yeah.
You could think about Rusty as different characters in his eras. Like, they're totally different. They have different motives, different personalities.
Yeah. I think one thing we can say is we've actually recently had a discussion about how Rusty could possibly end. The whole Rusty shenanigans could end in... Yeah, as we were saying then, we've discussed the end point of Rusty. And
yeah, like no regenerating, just ending.
Yes, the end of Rusty. And it's going to play I suppose, similar way to what's already happened with Rusty. I'm not going to say which storyline, but one of the storylines that Rusty's appeared in is going to be how it's going to go out. You know, I won't go into detail which one, because there's been enough now, so it's a bit of a mystery still of which one it could be. So it's going to explore similar aspects of what's already happened, with, of course, as Rusty's told us all, the bigger picture.
Well, honestly, right? It's Lost Legacy at the end of the day. What we say here could be different in 2 days.
Yeah.
So don't take this all with a grain of salt if you're watching this. Don't expect like we're saying the future, because we don't even know what's going to happen next week with the series. So.
I often think a lot of the decisions we make, and the reason why we end up regretting them, is just because we can't really go too big on them, and the more we limit things, and the more it's harder to explain things, it becomes a lot more about, have we made this cohesive to the already existing lore? I really want to build my own cinematic universe at some point when Lost Legacy's done, closed, finitoed, which themes around my own sort of things like that I want to kind of do.
Are you going to talk about that series that we were thinking of redoing?
Well,
redoing.
Yeah, redoing, because you already did do some videos of it, but then you scrapped them.
Oh, right. Yes, we're basically going to be redoing, as one big movie, well, not one big, but like separate movies to do like the plots, all the Lost Legacy episodes. So the movie that kind of goes into detail about Lost Legacy's lore in general is going to be one big thing. So it's going to be like all the episodes that I've done, lore-based at least, not building, but lore-based. Oh, hiccups. And they will all be in one massive movie. And it's just to make the lore coherent, and there's going to be a lot of cinema. It's going to be very, very good. And I want to start recording this like very soon. I think whilst we're on a little hiatus from recording episode 2, it'll be good to kind of at least the foundation.
Any problems you have with this series, just say it now, because obviously, like the subtitles, we're going to add the subtitles in this new
telling you now.
for the
If
Rusty,
somebody tries to pick shit at this movie when it's out and says something utterly stupid, I think
this will probably take about 2 months to make.
yes,
Yeah.
it's gonna be insane. We're gonna have to
It's
use
gonna be-
Reconsole.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of the biggest projects that we all
Not Bedrock,
work on.
Yeah.
Should
And
we
then,
should we
obviously-
discuss our like decision of it being on Bedrock the collab?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of did.
Hmm.
Because you use Bedrock. I mean, Sooty's not the biggest fan of it. I don't really have much of a choice because I ain't going to Reconsole and it's just bugging me out all the time. So.
Reconsole is a mess anyway.
It is-
like
it
it
is
was
a
way too
horrid mess.
But
hard to
there
read.
is
It
a
was way
reason,
hard to read.
law-based as well, why it would be on Bedrock,
Mhm.
which will be found out in part 3 for definite. There's a point in part 3 that is I think we've all agreed will definitely happen. I can't be specific.
Yeah,
Where
I get what you're
where
talking
we are,
about.
yeah, and why it has to
Yeah,
be in Bedrock. I think does Tyler understand what I'm saying? I know Sooty does. Does Tyler? Know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
I
I
understand.
think so.
Yeah.
You can't say it here because it'd be
I can't
mad.
say it here, but yeah.
Mhm.
But it's exciting times. I think the one thing I'd say like to the future self like is I do really feel like the beauty of Lost Legacy is the randomness, but I feel like if we really want to take it ever seriously, we need to start planning like stuff way ahead, and, like actually getting a consistent storyline,
Mhm.
and not just like kind of magicking stuff out of thin air because it does come like because those like nothing saw that coming that whole entire like collab, and it felt really like it just popped up.
Yeah.
I think that's what people were saying in the Discord. It was like it wasn't that much anything like build up to it. It just kind of happened, a bit like Worlds Collide.
Mhm. Right.
There was no build up to Worlds Collide. They just happened, really.
Yeah. So, what was I gonna say then? I can't even remember now.
Sorry.
No, it's okay, Sut.
Bro has completely lost his train of
Let's
thought
talk
there,
about
hasn't
this studio while I try and figure out
he?
what I was gonna say.
Real.
So, okay,
Real.
well, let's let Tyler take the stage because he was like the main person who built this.
Right. I got a bit of inspiration from Yapsash, which is another podcast channel run by some people that we know, I guess like friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the idea of it. I wanted to do like different colors and do my own kind of vibe with it, but like I think the layout of that studio is probably like the best it could be for this sort of casual thing. And this it's going to be very different. Like we're gonna at some point build like certain sets for this studio and different things. Like we've got a green screen in front of us right now as I'm looking. So there's a lot of things that we are going to be doing in the future with this studio. And City's got a couple of those ideas, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you?
So,
Yes.
I guess what I was gonna say is I remember now. Then we'll go back to kind of talking about the podcast itself.
Yeah, that's good. All right.
Because we're in Bedrock, because we're in Bedrock now and we're not on Legacy. I think at this point now we can guarantee more Lost Legacy videos and there won't be as many breaks. Because this is one thing we have is with it being on Legacy, there's people can't help as much because there's like not many people that we are speaking to that have Legacy. But with Bedrock, there's more people, so there's probably more likelihood of getting different people to help us and more chance of more videos from Lost Legacy.
Yeah, that's very true. So expect a lot on the for your series. Obviously, the Hit the Target series, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I just remembered something.
Well, go on.
If we are going to do this remake series, it probably is going to start filming after we do this collab.
Yeah. That's fair. It's just going to be fun. We obviously have to really think about how we want these redos to go and the controversies surrounding my first Hit the Target attack.
I would say, right, if we do this well, the last part could come out like around like March, kind of the first week into March.
Yeah. It's like there
Expect
is a
that.
limit.
Yeah.
There's a limit for me of how far I can go because of exam season coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to
Okay.
rush it.
We're not
I
going to
think
rush
we
it,
should
but we
take our
also
time
do
with-
have kind of like a deadline.
Yeah.
that's the point.
Like, we can guarantee all 3 parts will be done by April. Because that's
Yeah.
like my deadline. It's like as much as I'll be online and things.
Sam
Wow.
has to book a point.
Do you have anything else to yap about? Oh no. Oh no. The
You're gonna
lawyers.
say
The
something-
child
you're gonna-
lawyers.
What now?
So, I think at this point we are now about 35 minutes into our first podcast.
Hey yo!
I think it's time. It's time. So we're going to take some stills after this episode. Well, it's when we finish recording. When I get around to editing, there'll be some like still images that we're going to put on screen. I'll put them on screen now. So I don't know how many I'm putting on screen, but you can get an idea, and that's gonna have some things it gonna be in the episode. So, I guess, do we want to discuss some plot points we've had ideas for happening without like too much detail?
Battle.
There's gonna be a battle. There could be multiple battles in the video from what we've been discussing. There's gonna be a return of. Well, I suppose. Wait, I think.
All I'm gonna say is think about. Oh, actually, that's a bit too edgy. What I was gonna say there. Let me
Think the tree.
We're going into that territory.
Think the tree. It's obvious the tree is kind of gone. It doesn't work anymore, based on when we were over there in the video, in Tyler's and Sooty's perspectives. The tree was deactivated. Think of what made it activate, what made it appear in the first place, and then so there's that person, and then a new person as well, and they are going to be key aspects in this part. And they are probably going to be is protagonist the right word? I think protagonist. I think that means evil person. I think, I'm not sure. Anyone can Sooty, Mr. Caravan Man, you go to drama school. Is protagonist the right word for evil people?
As antagonist.
That's the word.
Antagonist.
I think protagonist is a hero.
Protagonist is
Or someone else. I don't even know.
that's the main hero.
The main character, I think, yeah.
No, a protagonist is a good person. An antagonist is like bad.
So there's going to be two antagonists in this episode, and I'm going to say this: Rusty will not be one of them. So it kind of does narrow it down. But Rusty won't play a big part, I suppose, in this specific part.
If that's sad to any of you guys.
Oh, Yapper John's gonna figure us out like a book, and then he's just gonna start yapping.
Yeah. So, part 2, I think, could end up being the longest part because there's going to be several plot points in it.
I could also say that, right? We think this is going to be the longest part, and then we go to part 3, and then we start like mad cooking.
Yeah.
Don't hold us to that.
Part 3 possibly could have a return of a certain blue guy.
That's just
that's just a theory, a film theory, and
No, that's just a theory, a friend and foes podcast theory.
I like it.
oh no, what have we started? Hopefully, Yapper John doesn't find this.
I know. Imagine he does.
When's the next episode of the Friends and Foes podcast coming out?
Oh, God. Well, I think we've all shared what we think. Has anyone got anything more to say about part 2, or we're leaving people with what we've shared so far?
Wait and see kind of thing.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah, I think we've been very vocal about everything.
Well, thank you all very much for watching the first part of the podcast. There'll be another one after part 2 comes out. So, yeah, and we'll talk about part 2 in its entirety.
Expect it to probably be like late February.
Late February, yeah.
I put the camera back on.
Yeah. I'm gonna get Sooty on the toilet next, aren't you?
I am.
No.
Sooty, do you have a turtle that's wanting to pop out?
What? No!
How about I just ooh. What's a block in this game that looks like shite?
Oh my.
Alright, well, continue.
The silence says it all. Well,
Here you go. Brown can.
Hey yo!
oh
Look at
nah.
Sooty's
Alright.
Sooty's
Okay,
all over you. Oh.
I'm getting off that, honestly, man.
Come on,
You're
Tyler's
joke or
chair to
what?
say goodbye. Thank you all very much for watching, and of course, we'll see you sometime after part 2. That's it from the Friends and Foes podcast studio. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Bye. Eat your vegetables!